All right, Shawnee, so there was a convention this past weekend called Astronomicon.
Okay.
I think I'd mentioned it to you last week. Not on the show, but just in passing. And I totally wimped out on talking to absolutely anybody at the show. My big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, was there.
I would definitely wimp out in that conversation.
I was too scared to talk to Scott Steiner. I walked around for about an hour trying to convince myself. I think it was like $40 to get a picture with him and sign something or another.
$40?
Yeah, and I'm like, man, do I need to give Scott Steiner $40?
No.
Just because I enjoy him as a disaster of a human being. Jake the Snake Roberts was there. I've talked to Jake the Snake before for Nerd Radio, and he was all right. He's cool. And he's another one. He's like an old school hero of mine.
Sure.
So
yeah, I know those matches when we were kids in the 80s. Fantastic.
Even talking to him initially, I think it was last year, the year before, like I just psyched myself up. I was like, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Don't say something stupid. You can do this. I didn't want to Chris Farley it up. Like, hey, remember that time?
Don't say something stupid to the crackhead.
Well, yeah, true. Who else? The Boogeyman was there. Do you remember the Boogeyman?
Oh yeah, not only do I remember the Boogeyman, but he was in the Hardy Halloween special.
Yes, he was. No, he was in full makeup and everything.
Whoa,
he's legit scary.
Man, he's committed.
Yeah,
he's committed to that Boogeyman character.
Right. They had some horror people there too, like Sid Haig.
Ooh, nice.
Was there, and he was at one point he was in the full makeup from what is it, Devil's Rejects or something like that, and it made me laugh because there were a couple of cosplayers who were cosplaying that character from Devil's Rejects, but it was very obvious which one was Sid Haig.
Sure,
He's got a very distinct look. But the moral,
the only 70-year-old one,
right? The moral of the story is that I'm a big puss, and I didn't talk to nobody. I was just like, hey, cool. It's that guy. I'm in the same room as that guy. That's cool.
Can't say that I would have done any better had I have had a microphone in my hand at this event. Ladies and gentlemen. I'm Shawnee Constant, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Bean.
Kayfabe, motherfucker.
Kayfabe, motherfucker! We are basking in the glory.
In the glory?
Of the opulent Wrestle Palace Chandelier.
Wrestle Palace!
Monkeys fight prison style, dude.
Boom shakaloo!
The scariest of all clowns. Murder Clown.
It's like we've said previously on the show.
Meteora.
He's fat! He got a fat ass! It's like he's covered in drinking!
Make him It's a work. It's a work. And this is the one fall show. This is one of the rare weeks where I think NXT took a back seat to SmackDown and Raw. You especially were really excited about Raw and SmackDown this week.
Yeah, kind of. And I told you before we cut the mics on this morning that I watched NXT on Wednesday when it happened. Not quite live, but a couple hours after it happened. And it just, it wasn't bad, but I think you get the thing where it's like if you get ice cream every week, then when you get vanilla ice cream, you're like, eh.
Yeah, it was absolutely, the matches were good. It involved the people that you want to see, but there was nothing transcendent.
Right.
We've had a lot of transcendence, whereas on SmackDown, we had that gauntlet match. Oof. And what let's start with Raw. I did not watch Raw this week. Let me know what happened on Raw. So we're going in, of course, to Elimination Chamber this weekend.
Yeah, and this is Monday Night Raw was booked in a way that I feel like the shows used to be booked back in like the post-Attitude Era, in that going into a pay-per-view of some sort, you would have all the competitors who you're going to see on Sunday wrestling different opponents than you're going to see them wrestle on Sunday.
Okay.
Or you would get to see, like, okay, for instance, one of the matches that I was super hyped for, and once I tell you who it is, it's not going to be very, you're going to know exactly why. Ruby Riott is going to be facing Ronda Rousey on Sunday. So almost as a warm-up match, Ruby Riott fought Nikki Cross.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and I was here. I'm totally here for it. I love both of them. They put on a great show.
Yeah.
It was great. The only negative is that there was that match, and then there was a women's tag match that like opened the show essentially after they got through the Becky Lynch, Triple H stuff that was going on. And in that tag match was both the Riot Squad, and the winner of that tag match, or the loser of that tag match, was the first team on Raw that was going to start the Elimination Chamber.
Right. Okay.
And I believe it was Sasha and Bayley who lost that match. I can't recall. Not important. Not an important detail as far as I'm concerned. What is an important detail is in both matches, the commentary team made sure to say at least once that the entire Riot Squad could walk out of Elimination Chamber dressed in gold.
Ooh.
And I'm like, don't tease me.
Yeah, right.
Don't fucking tease me. Look, I might be in the minority, but I would be hype as fuck.
That would be a fascinating development.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating.
That
yes.
would, we think we know what WrestleMania is going to look like here, like 6 weeks out, for them to turn it on its ear like that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if Ronda and Becky fight at WrestleMania and it's not for the title, does it really matter? Like, we're still psyched to see Ronda and Becky throw down.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be the Becky Lynch show no matter what.
Right.
I mean, that's that. I don't really care what else happens at WrestleMania at this point, other than the perhaps return of my boy.
For sure. Kevin Owens.
Now, have you read online about how this is apparently going to be a gimmick where he's like the anti-Mr. Perfect?
I did read that. I don't know
it's a very strange idea. I don't love or hate it, and I don't know that it's true necessarily. It might have just been a funny moment where he went and threw the ball down after doing a promo and ended up with a gutter inadvertently. Who knows?
You would think if they would have reshot it if they could have. So why wouldn't they? Unless and I'm sure that's where that kind of that rumor comes out of, is that like, they would have reshot it if they didn't want Kevin to look like an idiot. So it must be some kind of anti-Mr. Perfect thing. I decided at the beginning of the year that I'm going to read dirt sheets, like I'm going to read the rumors like that, but I'm going to put absolutely no stock in any of that until it happens on television. And I'm like, I guess they were right. Okay.
But it was fun to see Kevin back, and now we finally have a time frame. He's going to be back in a month.
Yeah,
we're ticking down to the return of Kevin Owens with his leaner body and new tattoos.
It's weird because I don't know. I almost would prefer if Kevin was one of the post-Mania Raw surprises.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of like getting Kevin back, with 2 weeks to go and then trying to find a place for him on the WrestleMania card?
Unless if he just comes back in some sort of warm-up position, then that would be very disappointing.
Right.
I'm with you.
It'll be a little bit like Samoa Joe a couple years ago where he showed up, I think, within this time frame and then didn't have a place in the WrestleMania card. And
nobody didn't have a place for another 2 years, it seemed.
Right. Nobody had an excuse for why.
No, that would be bad news. But I feel like Kevin Owens, because he's had a run that essentially has had him on TV every single week he's been on the big roster, I feel like he's one of Vince McMahon's guys. Now,
you would think so.
Whether or not that ends up proving to be the case following this injury, we'll see. But I would think that doing the change-up as he has would be impressive to management.
Yeah.
He's coming back with something different, something fresh. And
right,
interesting from Kevin Owens, considering how we always talk about the fact that he is so consistent. He's one of these legendarily he's always Kevin Steen. He's always Kevin Owens. We don't see anything different from. And then he very well may be the exact same guy when he comes back. He's just in a slightly different visual package.
In a leaner, meaner package. I
kind of hope that's the case, actually. No, I got a game for you here, Mr. Bean.
Okay.
So, I'm going to give you a clue, and this is your traditional "Who am I" kind of game.
Who am I?
And so, once if you think you know, let me know that you think you know, but don't say an answer. Yes.
Okay, so that the people at home can play along as well.
Yes.
They can think.
The first is clue, very simple.
Okay.
And then if you got some topic to move on to after this, feel free to jump right into it. But I was born on December 18th, 1970. Who am I?
Oh, obviously I know what this is. There was only one person born at that day.
Hey, we got to start. We got broad, very broad.
It was a historic day because only one person was born. So of course I know what the answer is. No, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear more about that. I'm looking up the Raw results right now. Oh, you know what was really interesting? Okay, so Seth Rollins comes out, cuts a Seth Rollins promo, and him and Paul Heyman go back and forth or whatever like that. And at the end of it, the next match is Dean Ambrose and EC3. And Diener comes out while Seth is in the ring and motions like he's asking for the microphone instead of just taking it from him or getting a different mic. Motions he asks for a microphone. Takes the microphone and simply says, "Slay the Beast."
Ooh, okay.
Like, once again, we hear the rumor that Dean's on his way out the door. So the booking for Dean is just erratic as fuck now.
Well, yeah, it sure seemed like he was going to be facing Nia Jax. They actually had advertised it and then pulled the ad
on some house shows or something like that.
Yeah, very strange. That's
right.
That would be some interesting information to have as to how that transpired. Who pushed it to happen? Why did it get did it get smashed? Why did it get the plug pulled? Has the plug been fully pulled? Who knows? Very interesting. Very interesting. It's
but it's certainly between last week with him interrupting Alexa Bliss's talk show and making fun of who's EC1 and EC2. Mm-hmm. So it seems like, okay, so the heel turn didn't work, so just go back to being funny, crazy Dean.
Yeah, maybe so. Just I do. Did they put on a pretty good match?
Wacky Dean. They were all right. Yeah, Dean, I think, won with like a roll-up or something crazy like that.
Okay.
But it was, it was all right.
That's
it was
a
solid.
program I wouldn't mind seeing. I think that would be a good introduction for EC3. I think he's got a ton of potential.
Right.
He's not super over with me, but he's a competitor that I feel like I would like for him to get over.
He has the look. Now does he have the in-ring work, which apparently, he's done some time in NXT, so you would imagine he probably does. And does he have the charisma when you hand him a microphone? Or are they going to play off the fact, like they have the last couple of weeks, that like by not letting him talk, that he may in fact not have the charisma?
No, I think from his NXT work, his charisma is pretty good. It's just a matter of whether or not he can sell that sort of. It's another twist on the Ric Flair thing.
Sure.
Can that work? Can he make that work in his context? Without becoming another Bobby Roode. I think that he has he's younger, so there's more freshness to him than Bobby Roode had.
I agree.
Bobby Roode was sort of a tried and true character by the time that he got into WWE. So I think EC3's got a pretty high ceiling. But again, we talk about all the time, the pipeline is overfilled. So
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if he's a guy who can make a mark, and more than ever before. We're going to be looking to see who can make a mark, because at some point the WWE is going to have to start cutting people, and now they're legitimate competition to snatch them up, which makes that decision all that much harder.
Right.
And, can they just hoard guys and pay them to sit quietly and not, blast on social media how much they hate it in WWE? It's going to be a fabulous time with AEW, and
that's the hope. I think we all like the tweet that I've read that I thought was funny is that until there's a TV show, y'all are just excited about a T-shirt company.
No, absolutely. But Chris Jericho on his podcast had the Tony Khan, who's essentially the man who's going to be the Vince McMahon of the AEW company, and I highly recommend that people who are interested in AEW give it a listen.
Okay.
He impressed me incredibly and took me from somebody who was fascinated by what AEW would do to WWE more so than I was about AEW being its own entity. And now I'm thinking, this guy, if there is going to be somebody who you could put in place with the incredible talent and smarts of the Elite and Chris Jericho, this is the guy to do it. I am very impressed. He's incredibly wealthy, but he's also oddly humble, and he understands sports statistics, sports analytics. He understands business analytics. He's just locked in. He is. This is not.
He's not just throwing money at it and seeing what happens kind of thing.
Right.
Like he's kind of committed to, he wants this to work.
Yes, and he made it a point to say he was basically a smart going back to the 90s. As a 13-year-old kid, his dad brought him to an ECW event, and he wanted to make it very clear, and I think he made an excellent case, that this is not simply like, when I was a kid, I liked this thing, so now I'm going to buy it, so it's part of my collection. He very much was like, hey, if this was not a good business move, I would not do it. But he essentially pointed to the fact that, look, WWE got this $1 billion contract from Fox because people want live events.
Yeah.
And so he recognized that if he can put together a really great company, he can pitch it to a network and make a huge bank, whereas stupid-ass Ring of Honor and Impact are constantly releasing tape-delayed stuff.
Yeah, taped stuff.
So it sucks all the value out of it. And this guy has the billions of dollars. He owns an NFL team. He knows how to present a massive event for TV. And it's very interesting. And his big thing was that wins and losses are going to be very important. So that will be, I think, a deciding factor for a lot of people. It's either going to make or break people's interest in the thing, right?
Right.
It's awfully bold to say wins and losses are going to matter, but 3 months in or 6 months in, are you going to have guys who are so annoyed that their records suck that it causes discord? It's going to be interesting to see how they're able to work it all. But yeah. I'm very interested, and I highly recommend that interview.
You know, the going back to the idea that wins and losses matter, so that kind of flips the script a little bit on a working event like pro wrestling. When Impact Wrestling started, when it was TNA Wrestling, one of the first things they did that I thought was really cool and went by the wayside really fast, unfortunately, was your television matches were for in the old days it would be like, this match is scheduled for one fall with a 60-minute time limit, blah blah blah. The TV matches were scheduled for one fall with a 10-minute time limit.
Okay.
And I thought that was fascinating, that there was that possibility, that clock that was running down that could possibly, like, when they say it's like a 60-minute time limit, you're like, okay, this match isn't going to go an hour. Like, get out of here. This match is going to be like 37 minutes and there's going to be a winner or something like that. But when you've got that ticking clock of like, look, you guys got 10 minutes out here. And you can match might be 3 minutes, match might be 7 or 8 minutes, match might go over. At which point, hey, there's no decided winner, and you guys are gonna have to do it again next week or the week after, at pay-per-view or something like that. I'd like to see that implemented. Possibly
it'll be very
again.
interesting. He has definitely promised that this is going to be a different angle on sports entertainment, but
hopefully there's not
the money behind it.
Hopefully that doesn't mean there's an 18-sided ring or anything like that.
No, I don't think there's going to be any massive gimmicks like that. And that's, I think, the good the value in having the Elite as well as Chris Jericho involved is that they can sort of they recognize what is an elimination chamber and what is a hot dog on a pole, right?
Okay.
Like, which one?
Right.
One of these is a good idea. Let's give it a try. One of these is a terrible idea. What the hell are you doing here, Bischoff?
Right.
So it sounded really good. Like I wanted to work for that company, but realized that this is not a company that's just grabbing scrubs. They have been grabbing all high level names across everything from social media to booking to it's interesting. I'm hyped for it. I'm looking forward to it.
That was something my one of my Nerd Radio co-hosts, Erica, she's real big in New Japan and she's real excited for AEW. I'm lukewarm on it because I don't want to get excited for a thing that I'm not gonna have for like a year.
Very fair.
Like
very
when
fair.
when we're 2 months out, then I'll get real invested and real excited about what's coming. And obviously you got Double or Nothing coming up too, and that's a big.
That's what the interview really did for me, was it made me understand that Double or Nothing is a must-see event. Like, this is not like I can just catch it, with a week after, or catch it in piecemeal. Like, I want to watch this thing in its entirety.
Oh, nice!
Because I want to see the storyline going into the inevitable TV show.
Sure.
Like, this is something I want to be on board with. Now, is it going to deliver? I do not know. We still do not know. But this really, it brought me into the room in a way that I wasn't before hearing the interview, and that was exciting because I had sort of looked at it as, I don't know if this is Cody Rhodes' thing, right? Like,
sure.
I saw Brandy was named the CFO of the company. I'm like, well, is that kayfabe? But no, this is, like, the company structure is legit. Like, he is a smart sports businessman, and he's not clowning around. So it's fascinating.
Well, I hope that everyone's not going to turn our show off right now to go listen to that.
No, don't do that.
You can listen to it
after.
Yeah, you can listen to that once we're done.
Sure.
Once we're done with our ridiculousness.
Well, they wouldn't want to do that because then they won't be able to find out who the answer is in the game we're playing today.
Are you going to give me the next hint?
Yes, sir.
I want it.
I had an uneventful and forgettable run in WCW in 1993. Who am I?
Oh, that's a lot of people. Whew. All right. Still, I still got nothing on the board there.
Okay.
So, all right. You said you saw SmackDown this week, so you kind of saw the highlights of the Becky Lynch story from Raw coming out of that, where Triple H. I thought it was cool that both Triple H and Stephanie at the top of the show apologized to Becky for their actions last week, even though Becky is the one that slapped and punched them and stuff like that. Triple H was like, you know what? I said some stuff on SmackDown last week. I was wrong. I was wrong. I'm a big enough man to say I was wrong and apologize for that. But then the story going through the whole show is that now Becky needs to apologize to them for beating them up. And you know, she didn't want to do that. And there was a really cute, you know, everybody kept coming up to her backstage and trying to convince her one way or the other. But there was a really cute exchange between him and Finn, or her and Finn Balor, where Finn was like, you know, all you got to do is say I'm sorry. You don't even have to mean it. You just say I'm sorry, and then you go on to WrestleMania and have your event. I'm like, go ahead. And as he walked away, she's like, your abs are still awesome, by the way. I was like, yeah, that's fantastic. The only other thing that really came out of Raw, though, was the Revival. The Revival finally winning the big one in the main event on Raw against Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. Not the best match I've seen these guys put on, but definitely some spots in there that made me remember, oh yeah, these were the guys that tore the house down in NXT.
Excellent.
And I still the Shatter Machine is the coolest tag team finisher since the 3D.
It is a great one. Although I have to say, I watched the one highlight from NXT that stands to mind was who was this tag team match? It was
it the Street Profits was on one side?
They put on a hell of a show against a couple of luchas, maskless luchas. I cannot think of their names. Carrillo, perhaps, was one of them.
Yeah, one of them they kept saying was on 205 Live or had a match on 205 Live in the last couple of weeks.
They put on a hell of a match, and the finisher that the Street Profits delivered.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is called.
It's an electric chair combined with the guy coming off the top rope for the blockbuster.
Yeah, yes. That was fantastic. And
it was cool.
That match. It was not an excellent match like, you know, a 5-star match, and that's the problem you were mentioning before. NXT has been slowly trickling 5-star matches off of their pay-per-views onto weekly highlights. But this was a match that the crowd was starting to finally get behind the Street Profits, and it seems that the Street Profits have been grinding for a while now in NXT, but overshadowed by so many great tag teams. And I think this was a moment where they got to like bump up a level, and that was fun to see.
When I saw the match, my first thought was like, I've heard of the Street Profits, but they're, you know, as I'm watching the match, it became very obvious to me how like second or third tier they are as a tag team. Like when you think of the NXT tag teams, you think of the War Raiders and you think of Undisputed Era, and like that's the conversation.
Yes, and then you brought Keith Lee and Bro, and that's a potential. They're definitely they're second tier, but they've been doing, I guess, what you'd call NXT mid card work,
right, for
a good long time now. They've been highlighted a lot, and it's just a matter of when they're going to finally have their breakthrough moment, and they're getting really close.
But it is also fascinating as you're like there wasn't a particular spot or anything. There wasn't a moment, but there was something clicked while the match was going on. I went from these guys are like third tier NXT tag team. And then something clicked, and I'm like, no, these guys are good. Yeah. These guys, like the Full Sail crowd. I think that Full Sail crowd plays a big part in that because they get behind everybody.
Yeah, and when they get behind somebody, I buy in. And that's what's fun about having invested so much time in NXT is you feel like if you pop in and the crowd, you know, I'm like, the Street Profits versus a couple of guys whose names I don't know. I'm not sure about this, but then once the crowd starts getting really fired up behind it, I think, okay, well, I'm clearly ignoring something that they're picking up, and so I need to look a little harder and not just rely on cynicism.
It's in the same way that, you know, the first time you popped on an NXT and you saw Enzo and Cass doing their shtick, and you're like, and the crowd is totally behind it. You're like, what is this? Mm-hmm. All right, I guess I want to get behind this. This is fun.
I kind of feel like Heavy Machinery may be taking over where Enzo and Cass.
It does feel like
left
that.
Off.
It does. It does. I agree. There seems to be a formula to Heavy Machinery. Otis seems to be the big Cass of the group. He gets the hot tag. Tucker takes a lot of the punishment, so that Otis can get the hot tag and just run through people like a bulldozer.
Yes, and just has all the personality. And they seem to be fine with that.
Yeah. Well, hey, whatever. I would ride somebody's. I'll ride your coattails for a couple zeros on a check.
Yeah, right. So I'm just waiting for some coattails.
That's right.
You know who wasn't waiting for some coattails?
Our mystery
mystery guest is he was ranked. No, I'm sorry. I was ranked the number 1 pro wrestler in the world in 2002.
Whoa!
By Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Who am I?
Whoa. Okay, that narrows it down a little. Man, I can't wait to find out if I'm wrong.
So you think you know who it is?
I don't. Maybe.
You wouldn't be ready to lock in, but
no.
you sort of have your...
No, but it's like that. What's that kid's game with the faces?
Oh,
is it Guess Who or something like that? Yeah, or like does he have a mustache? No.
Yes,
okay, flip. That's what's going on in my head right now. Flipping down all these wrestlers' faces. That would be a fascinating. Why doesn't WWE get on that? Make a WWE version of Guess Who.
There you go.
Does he wear a mask? No. All right. Well, everybody but Kane, Rey Mysterio, and all these luchadors.
I like this generation of maskless luchadors that we're seeing. WWE just treats all luchadors by just making just as cartoon characters.
Yeah.
That these guys who have the lucha pedigree but aren't wearing the masks, I think, have a better chance to make it in the WWE environment.
But then on the flip side, they also do this thing with just about everybody where you're only allowed to have one fucking name.
Oh yeah, that's
you go from Tucker Knight to Tuck or Tucker. Because and that's kind of almost a luchador kind of thing. It's like, well, we can't know exactly who you are, so you're just this. I was joking. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look up who was on NXT, because there's somebody that wrestled on NXT who has a name very similar to somebody else. And that's another thing that cracks me up is when the naming convention of the WWE breaks down.
Oh, yeah. When there's too many Erics, for example, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you're making up these names. How come there are 3 Erics?
Right. Well, the most recent example I had was, of course, on SmackDown we have Byron Saxton, but then over in NXT their ring announcer is Kayla Braxton. I'm like, come on. Oh, it was Shane Thorne. Dominic Dajovic fought this dude named Shane Thorne.
Mm-hmm, yes.
And for a second, I thought it was Kevin Thorne, who was the vampire in ECW ECW reboots. I called him Kevin Thorne. I'm like, unfortunately, and please don't let anybody let this get out because I don't want to die. There have been times where I've accidentally mistook Minoru Suzuki for Kenzo Suzuki, who was briefly on SmackDown. And
oh no.
And I don't want Minoru Suzuki to murder me, so.
Mr. Bean. You might get whacked by Mecha Mummy for that one.
Do you want to talk about that?
If you want to talk about it.
My God. So you sent this. Did you put it on the One Fall page, or did you just send it to me?
No, I just sent it to you. I asked our friend Elizabeth to post it, and she posted it on the Lapado page.
Oh,
that's just absolutely traitorous.
Yeah, that is.
I'm like, ooh, this is some great material. Thanks. Give it to us so that we can exploit it. And she's like, nope, giving it to the enemy.
Yeah, no, we continue.
Thanks, buddy.
We continue to be the Impact Wrestling of Facebook wrestling groups, whereas Lapado is much more the WWE.
Very fair. They are a great group over there. I have to concede. I will tip my hat to them.
For sure. I'll definitely play. I'll play second fiddle to those guys any day. So I don't know who it was that's commentating on this match. They apparently do this, trying to find the best wrestling match of all time. And they talk about this match between our favorite,
Minoru
Suzuki and Mecha Mummy,
who is awesome. He's basically like an old 70s kaiju TV show villain. Like, he should be fighting Johnny Sacco's giant robot, except for they don't have the green screen. But he's even got the fist that rockets off.
I love that's where I was going. He's got the giant, like, cardboard fist, and he just, like, flings it. He, like, punches at a guy and lets go of it, and it just flies across the ring and hits a guy in the chest. And I fucking love that.
Yes. I think that kind of wrestling would be right up Kota Ibushi's alley.
Oh, Jesus,
I feel like I want to see Kota Ibushi fight a human-sized mecha.
Yeah, well, it's the kind of thing you would see in DDT is the Japanese thing where, like, Kenny fought a broom or a sex doll or something like that. So yeah, Kota Ibushi would be all about this. But he's also got the drill.
Yes,
he's got this giant cardboard drill.
Cardboard, kayfabe, motherfucker. He's got a giant metal drill. He's Mecha Mummy. He's part mummy, part robot. It's metal. It's an actual working drill, and he tries to use it to bore through Minoru Suzuki.
The promotion for the match where Minoru Suzuki is at the catering table and the lights go out and they play like Beethoven's Fifth, and then Mecha Mummy shows up and Minoru Suzuki just no-sells that he's there, like even reaches under him to get some food to put on his plate. Oh my God, it made me like, okay, already already huge fans of Minoru Suzuki in this room right now. We love that he is just this tough-ass old guy that slaps around young boys. Let's slap anybody. Slap the ref. Slap his own buddies.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. Just slap everybody.
And the crankiest of cranky old men.
Right, and then was an extremely handsome young man, apparently, like 30 years ago,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is nuts. But the sense of humor he shows in dealing with Mecha Mummy and not breaking character while doing it.
Right.
Like, still being Minoru Suzuki.
Yes.
Like, when he goes for the drill shot, and Minoru Suzuki just takes it and kind of looks at it like, what are you doing? What's this?
I really would have loved to have been able to see a Kevin Steen versus Minoru Suzuki, headlining hour-long kind of epic match.
Good God.
Because they just play themselves. So they've found that groove for their characters.
Right.
And that would be an excellent match. Many excellent matches by our Who Am I?
Okay.
Yeah, so in the early 1990s, I appeared in All Japan Pro Wrestling and challenged for the World Junior Heavyweight Championship many times. Who am I?
Ooh, I don't have a lot of Japanese wrestling knowledge, so this clue kind of goes right over my head. But I'm sure I know Freddie Rakang is big in the Japanese wrestling, so he might have a guess at this point in the podcast right now. So if you have obviously by the time you guys hear this, we'll be interested. While you're listening to the podcast, go to our Facebook group, go to the comments section on this episode, and chime in.
Yeah, lock in your guess before the end.
Right, for sure. Because I mean, if you outright know it before, at the end of the episode, like, that's cheating. Like, come on.
Sure.
So let's talk about SmackDown.
Okay.
Because
the Kofi Kingston show.
Yeah. Holy shit.
And when they announced that a New Day member was going to get involved, I wanted it to be Big E because I still want Big E to have some kind of gold.
Agreed.
And even though, the idea that just by getting into this match that a New Day member was somehow going to come out with the title was pretty damn unlikely. I'm like, well, give me Big E because I still have this. I'm part of the faction of people who is just sort of hoping that one day Big E gets some singles gold.
Right.
But then Kofi ends and gets in this match, and after about the first half hour, I had forgotten that it was the opening of the Gauntlet match. I was just like, I was marveling at the fact that we have been able to see the one highlight of Daniel Bryan's run to this point had been we get to see Daniel Bryan face a bunch of really high caliber talent.
Yeah.
And it's been fun to see guys that you wouldn't necessarily get to see Daniel or a big name guy at all face, right? So Tranquilo, and
Mustafa Ali,
Joe.
Just Samoa Joe.
The return of the 619 went through and Daniel Bryan, and then we got this incredible match with Daniel Bryan and
Kofi Kingston. Like Kofi has kind of gotten to a point in the roster that you either didn't realize or completely forgot he is capable of this level.
Yes, and I think what I'm saying is Daniel Bryan has been causing pro wrestling matches to break out.
Yes.
In a sports entertainment show, and that's been a lot of fun. Now, within the last couple of weeks, where you have Eric Rowan, I'm constantly fascinated by what T-shirt he's going to be wearing.
Yeah.
Corporate Kalani this week, if anyone, it's a German folk metal band. They have a song called Vodka that's very entertaining. If you want to go to YouTube and check out, Vodka.
What's the name of the band?
Corporate Kalani.
All right.
See KORPI
something else.
Just
get the first couple of letters of their name right, and then type in vodka, and you'll probably hit it.
You will find it. It's got many, many millions of views because the European metal fans love them some European metal. And but I like the hemp belt. I like now where you just have this crazy ass Daniel Bryan who at any given time could have like an excellent sports entertainment moment or an excellent pro wrestling match breakout. That is a ton of fun, and I'm loving it. It took me a long time to warm up to this new Daniel Bryan, but it's fine. I'm finally like, okay, I can dig this. I kind of hope this goes on for a good long time from here. I like what he's doing.
And the fascinating thing is that we've complained on the show before. Go ahead and hit me with it.
Meteora!
Thank you very much. About Seth Rollins and how, like, just because he can have 30 to 40-minute matches doesn't mean I want to see one every single goddamn week. But Daniel Bryan has kind of fallen into that, and I don't mind.
No, because he's fighting these wild cards. Rollins is, we get to see 4 matches with Ziggler and then 5 matches with Ambrose. So this constant hour, not hours, but these constant 20-minute matches are with the same people over and over again. Not that exciting. Whereas, like, hey, Kofi Kingston, I'm not going to get to see him put on a great professional wrestling match again for quite some time. Who knows when it'll come again, if ever, right? Outside of the tag team division, of course.
Sure. And the booking on this match is fascinating because you're throwing in a New Day member because Mustafa Ali apparently got left in Grand Rapids. Mm-hmm. As far as my girlfriend was concerned, they had that video where he's like just out in the snow with like a wooden fence behind him, and that's what she was like. Raw was in Grand Rapids last night. Did they forget Mustafa Ali? But so you're replacing it with a New Day member. So from like a psychology standpoint, now you've got one show to make me believe that this guy isn't just a replacement that has no chance in this match whatsoever.
Right.
And boy, oh boy, did they latch onto that and just like a dog with a piece of meat, just rip it apart. Because Kofi lasting through 4 of 6 guys, essentially, or no, 3, I think, of 6, like beating 3 of 6 guys, because he went through Daniel Bryan, Jeff Hardy, and then he pinned Samoa Joe.
Yes.
And that, like, the pinning of Samoa Joe was the moment where, like, you started to believe.
Right. Something big might be happening.
Oh, my God. Yeah. And then AJ comes down as, the consummate face and is like, I don't want to just come down and beat you up.
Right.
I want to make sure you're prepared to have a match. And then, once again, they have, like, a good couple minutes worth of a match before AJ gets the win. And there's a really cool, I saw a GIF of it, somebody had subtitled it, where Kofi was like, I've waited 11 years for this. When AJ Styles was like, are you sure you're ready to compete? He's like, I waited for 11 years, fight me, kind of thing. And it was like, oh, that's awesome. And then, we get the RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah, well,
It's out of nowhere because you hard zoom on somebody's face. So apparently, if you hard zoom on somebody's face, much like Kane's Pyro, we should expect an RKO.
Yeah. I'm getting to the point where I hope that AEW entices Orton out of his WWE contract and then doesn't sign him. You just like piss off Vince McMahon so that he's got nowhere to go. I mean, he can go wrestle on Impact.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So my first appearance in WWF at the age of 16 was being called from the audience to kiss Ted DiBiase's boot.
What?
In 1987. In 1987, yes.
Okay.
1987, Ted DiBiase was doing the whole bringing out marks from the crowd and making him do embarrassing things. Yep. And at the age of 16, I kissed his boot. Who am I?
Man, I feel like that's a real strong hit. Like there's somebody listening to the podcast right now that remembers that factoid and knows exactly who this is
that
now.
was the tricky thing.
That person
trying to dodge those.
Is not me.
Okay.
The only Ted DiBiase bit of scumbaggery I remember is the little kid bouncing the basketball.
Oh, what did he do with the ball?
If you can bounce this basketball 10 times, I'll give you $100.
Oh, yes.
That kid gets to 9, and then Virgil kicks the ball.
Kicks the ball, Virgil.
Oh, you didn't
Virgil,
do it.
You dirty bastard.
Virgil needed that $100 for the meat sauce, man.
Still heel as fuck, Virgil. He won't give up on it. One of the things I'm interested with AEW is that they have not only signed a transgender wrestler, an openly gay wrestler, and I was able to what is his name?
Oh, excuse me. Let me Google that shit.
Sonny Kiss.
Okay.
And I went onto YouTube to check out Sonny Kiss's work. Sonny Kiss has got the outward flamboyance of a Velveteen Dream, but the ring work is like Naomi. It is
really
wild.
Wow.
Yeah, really impressive. And it will be very interesting to see how they book an openly gay character.
Okay.
And because, of course, one of the foundations is that they're gonna allow the creativity to come from the wrestlers themselves.
Sure.
You would assume that you're gonna get something a little more pure than you would ever get from the WWE, and I'm very interested to see that. And the ring work, very, very good. Now I'm a longtime Naomi fan, so
right.
It would make sense that I would like to see that style
translated
outward. Yeah,
right.
That people who are not as into Naomi or the women's wrestling in general in WWE may not think that's that exciting, but I would recommend look up Sunny Kiss on YouTube. I'll post something over on the One
nice.
Fall Facebook group.
Yeah, very, very interesting because obviously homosexuality usually is a punchline.
Yes.
In professional wrestling.
Yes.
In historically, of course, in 2019, you would hope that somebody could progress past that.
Yeah,
and if anybody's going to, I would hope it would be the guys in AEW.
And again, a situation where even if Sunny Kiss doesn't necessarily get over, it creates a new dynamic that WWE has to reckon with, right?
Yes.
That's the thing. Everything that AEW does from here on out is going to force. First off, WWE is going to have to sort of start taking a list of things that AEW is doing and start considering, is this going to be a threat to what we do?
Right.
And as this progresses, it's going to be interesting to see how things shift. And again, even if AEW is a total bomb, but they figure out a way that the talent doesn't have to do 6 shows a week.
Yeah.
I think that it will be good. Just causing a reorganization of how WWE does things is what AEW is going to do, even if they're completely unsuccessful, and assuming that Tony Khan with his billions of dollars is at least going to get a couple year TV deal and be able to make some kind of waves somehow. And,
yeah.
He's been doing that with contract signings until we get a true WWE poaching. I think that we're not going to know.
I would think this spring is probably when you're going to see some kind of waves like that, because that's typically post WrestleMania is when usually there's kind of a clearing of the decks with the WWE.
Well, yeah, I know the Usos contract is coming up now. I have to believe they're going to win the Elimination Chamber tag team. They're not in the chamber, but the tag team championship match.
Shane and Miz,
right? Because if you want to keep the Usos, you have to give them the titles now, right? If you're Vince McMahon, wouldn't you assume?
Apparently, that was the plan with Revival.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it's interesting because how long do you have to leave the belts on? Do you put the belt on them until the contract's up and then sign them to a long-term deal? And then
immediately take it off the next week.
Yank it out from under them. And
right.
Because that, of course, if you do that, no one else will ever want to sign that long-term deal. So everything's so much more delicate now. It's so much more in the favor of the wrestlers going into these contract talks.
And you look at Neville as an example too, of somebody who doesn't like what creative is doing and just decides look, I'm just going to stay home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we can go legally to war, or you can just let me out of my contract, or I'm not showing up for work.
Yeah, very interesting. And now, of course, he's going to be. They're very excited to have him over at AEW.
Sure.
I don't love his Neville work. I don't know.
I'm fascinated with him as a heel. Because when he came in, it was as a good guy because he's a high flyer.
Oh, yeah, he's a much better heel. That's a great point.
But he's a fantastic heel.
Yeah, that's a great point.
He is just great. He's so just nasty, and he looks just rawr. I don't have a good adjective for it.
He looks rawr.
Rawr. He just looks rawr. Speaking of some good heel work, I think the highlight of NXT this week for me was that Cassius Ohno thing.
Oh yeah,
where Keith Lee laid him out on the thing, and he was holding up the microphone,
yes,
and just staring into the lights.
It was fun for
that was a good sell.
That was a good sell, and it was fun to see Keith Lee just come out and Well, I apologize so much for interrupting your show. Like doing this very
very charismatic.
Yeah, this very, very like refined gentleman moment after just laying him out with an nunchuck gun, right?
Yes, pretty much a rotating forearm of craziness there.
And Keith Lee looking a little cut. I
think
he's losing some weight, man.
Right.
He's still got them giant shoulders.
He's getting
Keith
chiseled.
Lee is so cool, man. I love Keith Lee. I'm very excited about that.
I'm very excited about this contest. Give me another clue.
Oh, right.
I gotta hear this.
All right. This
I gotta figure this guy out. We're getting closer to like the time frame where you're gonna say something that's really. I'm gonna be like, I know exactly who it is now, but it hasn't happened yet.
In the no. I won the hardcore title from Jeff Hardy in 2001. Who am I?
All right, I have a definite guess now.
Okay.
I'm keeping it to myself. How many of these we got left?
Almost any of them from here will be giveaways.
Will be total giveaways?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got 3 or 4 more.
Okay.
But I think if you're pretty sure here, the next one should seal the deal for you. If not that, maybe 2.
For sure. Yeah, my Guess Who board is down to like 1 or 2 wrestlers at this point.
Okay.
So. All right, so this Sunday is the big Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Really feels like a 2-match card.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to 2 Elimination Chamber matches, and the tag team match is probably going to be cool. But that was something that they did on Raw that I thought was very cool too. Is when people were competing, they put like a lower third graphic down about what the match was that they were in at Elimination Chamber, and I thought that was a good thing to but hey, by the way, this is the match that Ruby Riot's going to be in an Elimination Chamber. This is the match that you're going to see Finn Balor in.
That's really smart. Chamber. It makes all these meaningless Raw and SmackDown matches slot into some kind of meaning.
Exactly.
They've been meandering for so long. And again, I don't think the WWE would be smart at all to go for a wins matter kind of mentality.
No.
To try to go head to head with a new group. But it's forcing them to go, oh, well, we don't want to go that distance, but yeah, maybe we shouldn't meander quite so much. At least give some value or demonstrate why I should be watching this to some degree. And, already we're starting to see those little changes. I thought it was interesting. I read somewhere that talking about the tag team, because of course, just because having the Bucks involved is making AEW a tag team destination,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the WWE apparently approached their tag teams and said, hey, look, we're going to improve our tag team game. And then give us 3 months. Like 3-month turnaround.
Right.
It's like Titanic in the iceberg. Like how can it possibly take 3 months to change things? That's bad news.
I would have to imagine that 3-month gap that they're asking for is based on the fact that WrestleMania plans are somewhat locked in.
That's fair. But
look,
you also
once we get past our big show for this year, we'll change whatever you guys want.
Yeah.
But let us get to that.
That's fair. I can dig that. That makes a lot more sense because just looking at the number as the time frame as a number, 3 months is like that is a long ass time.
Yeah, for sure. You're talking 12 or 13 or 14 weeks.
Yeah.
Of just.
But of course, we're
along.
already seeing the changes, like you said.
For sure. Yeah, and you hope that.
And I'm liking the world's greatest tag team.
Are you?
Yeah. No,
it's funny because I
think they'll be done after this week, but
yeah, because you imagine we're leading up to like the Miz and Shane at Mania, right?
Now maybe. Now that I don't particularly care about. But,
no.
I guess that'll be fine. I mean, I don't care about it in a way that excites me, but I don't ever not care what the Miz is doing. I guess this is
sure.
KO, the Miz. These are the 2 guys that I just always am interested in their storyline because when
they're very
when
good
they finally retire, I'm going to look back and go, man, this was a great run.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing that is really silly to me about the women's tag team elimination chamber is you're establishing the tag team championships in a match where there are no tags.
It's very strange. And then so it's just whoever So, like, if one it's elimination, right? So, if one, of course, it's called the Elimination Chamber. Yeah, but looking.
It's your first rodeo, huh?
Absolutely.
No, but like they said, there's no tag. So like a chamber, it starts with 4 girls in the ring, and whoever pins one of the other.
It looks
teams.
like they're setting up for Nia and Tamina to maybe break up. So then you have some sort of shenanigans involved there.
Yeah.
Already, that tag team is looking like it's. I have to. Something's going on with Nia Jax.
Oh, for sure, and
it seems like every moment there's some question mark about Nia Jax, and I wonder what goes on behind the scenes with Nia Jax.
That was something I wanted to ask you and forgot to when we were talking about Sunny Kiss, as you were saying that there's a lot of stuff that AEW is going to bring to the table. The WWE is going to have to be like, okay, do we need to change the way we do something? And it looks like Nia Jax is on the road to be the next Chyna.
Yes.
And do you think that maybe somewhat in response to something that they saw going on?
It very well could be, because Tony Khan made it very, very clear that they are going to be pushing women's wrestling early. He's talking about, he believes that we're going to see a level of ring work or an intensity of ring work that we have not ever seen before. So I'm guessing that the very first episode, we're going to see some kind of absolutely hellacious pro wrestling match in the women's division, because he is really, and they're paying the women full scale.
Oh, nice.
With the men.
That's cool.
So the top women are going to get top guy money. So it's very interesting how this approach is going to be. It's just tweaking all the. He's not coming at it from an absolutely, we're going to do everything the opposite of WWE. It's just tweaking everything.
Right.
And I think it's fascinating, like, for example, paying the women equal pay, giving them full matches right from the start. It's what WWE has been slow playing this, hey, we're the women's destination for like the last 3 years, even though women have been shit on for the last 50 by the WWE organization.
Right.
AEW is coming out and they're just saying, oh yeah, it's real cute, this whole slow roll they're doing, but we are going to be an equal pay, equal time men's women's division, and we have at least one transsexual competitor involved, so it's very exciting.
Well, and in one aspect too, it's almost an unfair advantage that AEW doesn't have 50 years of history to have to try and like retcon, essentially.
Right.
So they're starting now in 2019. But it does. You look at like Ring of Honor, who just in the last couple of years has developed a women's division because people want to see women's wrestling. And I get it when people complain about like New Japan doesn't have a women's division, but I also understand that like you've got a bunch of just committed women's wrestling companies in Japan. Like, why do something half-assed that this company over here can do full-assed?
Right. Yeah, no, it's an interesting dynamic in 2019 because do you like the WWE? It feels like they're saying we're gonna finally give you the boost, ladies, that you need.
Right.
And AEW is like, we know you've been working, ladies. We're going to give you the spotlight.
Right.
And that's a totally different mentality in the presentation. I hope they live up to the expectations that were set to me when I heard that interview.
And I don't know about you, but even now, like 4 or 5 years into women's wrestling being a bigger and bigger deal year in and year out, I still feel like when I watch a women's match, the bar's set a little bit lower. Mm-hmm. Like I don't expect as much from the girls. There's certain girls that you definitely have put on amazing matches, Sasha, Charlotte, Bayley or something like that you do kind of expect pretty high quality from. But it's almost like when you see a botched spot or something like that, you're like, well, I kind of expected at least one of these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's part of the grind, the live show grind.
Yeah.
Whereas and who knows how AEW will be able to deal with that aspect of it, but the idea that, like, look, you get to spend a couple of weeks just building this great match. Not you're building this great match and you're also going to have to practice it on house shows, and you're going to have to drive from town to town. You're going to have to catch red-eye flights, and you're going to have to sacrifice, your eating schedule and all the things that the road show, the carny part of it, that WWE relies on so much for that house show ticket money, is putting pushes down the ultimate product.
Right.
You know, when you're trying to give 110%, but your body's beat up 80%.
Yeah. One more thing, and then I'll we can move on to something like that. So the tag team elimination chamber match for the women's tag team championship. Obviously, whoever wins this match goes on to have a tag team match at WrestleMania. You would imagine.
Sure.
Who do you book as? Because I'm curious if we're on the same page here. Who do you book as the first women's tag team champions, and then what's the match you put on at WrestleMania?
There is a piece of me that would like to see the Iconics hold that title.
Yeah.
Even though they are still not really over with me. It's just sort of part of this, oh my God, what the hell is going on with this Iconics storyline would continue if they got the title?
That's my answer to the first question as well, because the Iconics have always been a unit. Maybe not always, but ever since they decided they were the Iconics.
At least 4 or 5 years, yeah.
Right.
The Iconics have...
Yes, ever since Billy Kay and Peyton Royce became like best friends, like you never see them.
Oh, you know what? No, they are shoot best friends from high school.
Oh, okay.
So yes, they have been the Iconics all along. No, it would make sense. I would like to see that, and I think that oh boy, I feel like you have to give Sasha and Bayley a spotlight at some point.
Yeah,
and they put on some great matches and haven't been allowed to put on a great match in quite some time. So I think the Iconics versus Bayley and Sasha would be fun.
Yeah, because if I was booking, the Iconics would walk out of the chamber, the first women's tag. I feel like it has to be heels as the first champions, especially when your next opportunity to show these things off is WrestleMania, essentially. That way you can give Bayley and Sasha a WrestleMania moment where they win the tag, and it leads into like. Look, if I'm booking
it's going to be Becky Mania, so anything that Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha does is going to get
Bayley and Sasha win those tag team titles midway through the show. The show ends with if it ends with Becky and Charlotte versus Ronda, I'm not going to be super pissed.
No, it's not my favorite, but as long as Becky holds up that title at the end of the night,
yes,
really, that's all I care
Becky
about.
wins the match, and then at the end of it, Sasha and Bayley come out to celebrate with her, and then Charlotte gets a bit of a redemption arc there where they let her celebrate with them as the 4 horsewomen at the end of a WrestleMania. Like that's what I want.
Yeah, no, that sounds like the WrestleMania moment that would come closest to bringing tears of joy to my eyes.
Yeah,
I would like to see that.
For sure. All right, hit me up with another hint here.
All right. Let me pick one here.
Who am you?
More and I have 21 championships over my career, and I'm the only wrestler in history to hold the WWE Championship, the TNA Championship, and the ECW Championship. Who am I?
I think that particular fact, I think I got it.
Okay.
I think I got it.
All right. We're locked in. How much time we got left on this show here, sir?
Let me take a look. I think we're about 45 minutes. Yeah, well, we're almost an hour done, sir.
All right, so we're real close to the end. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about in particular?
No, I don't. Like I said, this Sunday feels like a 2-match card. Hopefully there's some surprises in there. Hopefully, maybe the Finn Balor match blows me away, but I don't expect it to.
Bobby and Finn, I'm looking. I can dig on that match. Ronda and Ruby Riott.
I hope for a strong showing, but I don't expect to get it.
No, although I do like that Ruby Riott sort of gave back a receipt to somebody earlier this year, so maybe we get like a little bit of a slugfest. Like we might get a stiff match
for sure,
which would be kind of fun. And it would help to make Ronda Rousey a villain, because if you go stiff, you're almost asking to get your head knocked off because she's so sloppy.
Fair enough. As we said at the top of the show, look, you fucking teased me with it, Corey Graves on Monday Night Raw, but I personally would be really, really psyched to see the Riot Squad all walk out with gold, and suddenly make them players. That would be kind of fun. Akira Tozawa is going to fight Buddy Murphy. I'm sure it'll be a great match.
It's going to be a great professional wrestling match. Not that interested in the context of sports entertainment, because I don't watch 205 Live.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not invested. And then Does Daniel Bryan really lose in the Elimination Chamber? I mean, we just gave him the hemp belt.
Yeah, I would think not. I hope not, frankly. I want to see this era continue for quite some time.
Yeah,
although
me too.
This is a stacked match. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Kofi Kingston, who we just saw the amazing work from.
Yep.
Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, and Randy Orton. That is an excellent lineup.
Oh yeah, that's going to be. I expect it to be one of the higher Elimination Chamber matches as far as all the Elimination Chamber matches there have ever been, as opposed to being the Extreme Elimination Chamber from December to December.
If I could somehow wave a wand and replace Randy Orton with Bray Wyatt, this would be almost a dream match.
Oh, remember when Bray Wyatt won the Elimination Chamber?
Yes, I remember when he was a WWE superstar.
Those were the days. No, Daniel Bryan. That was something I was going to say earlier, how you were saying that Daniel Bryan's run with the title essentially is fighting a whole bunch of dudes and putting on amazing Ring of Honor style wrestling matches.
Mm-hmm.
Is that that seems to be that's going to be indicative of his run in the same way that AJ Styles could wrestle anybody and make you believe that they were really, that they stood a chance and they were really good, and he'd sell like a champ for him or something like that. Daniel Bryan's run is just forcing guys to work.
Yeah.
And making you either remember or realize that, like, holy shit, Kofi Kingston's got some skill.
Yes. Yeah, it's like here's a half hour. Are you really a professional wrestler?
Yeah.
Is your heart still in it? Because you're going to get the chance to show it
right.
in the match against Daniel Bryan. Because, man, the pacing is always so good in these Daniel Bryan matches.
Yeah,
like, there's nothing Daniel Bryan does where I think Daniel Bryan is a great professional wrestler. Once the match is over, I always say, that was a great wrestling match.
Daniel Bryan is a cardio monster.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. An excellent call.
I watched Daniel Bryan 15, 20 minutes into the match, like when he used to like hit the turnbuckle and then do that diving drop kick in the corner and then run to the turnbuckle and do it again and then run to the turnbuckle and I'm like, Jesus, he's like the Energizer fucking bunny.
Again.
Yeah. This is crazy, man. All right, do you want my guess now, or do you want to give me one more hint?
I'm gonna give you one more hint.
All right.
I'll give you 2 more hints here.
Okay.
These will seal the deal for sure.
All right.
And you can give me a thumbs up or thumbs down as if this is the guy. I appeared in the first Elimination Chamber match in the year 2002.
Okay.
And I had in 2014, I was named by WWE as the best ECW wrestler of all time.
Okay.
And I had legendary work in ECW with Sabu and led the invasion to WWE along with Tommy Dreamer. Who am I?
You are Mr. Pay-Per-View, Rob Van Dam.
That is correct, sir.
Hey!
That is correct, sir. Now, is that the name? How far back did you get the name?
I honestly, I had a different name in mind when you mentioned he was the only person to hold the ECW, the world title, and the WWE title, because I remember when the Big Show won the ECW title, they had said that something about him being the only one. However, when you said he was in the very first Elimination Chamber.
Not the WWCW Championship, the Impact. It was WWE Impact and ECW.
I didn't know Rob Van Dam won the Impact title.
Who knows, man? Impact is such a weird thing to me.
Yeah.
How does this wrestling thing a promotion stay in existence all this time and not be able to take advantage of the time when TV wants to make everything live?
Yeah.
Like, if the WWE is a $1 billion company, surely a live, instead of these stupid taped presentations show. I don't know, man.
I'll tell you what, if Impact Wrestling wants to make me watch more than the 3 minutes that Rosemary is on every week, they will sign the Mecha Mummy and put him against the Murder Clown.
The Murder Clown.
That is a match.
Now, I believe Murder Clown is a AAA guy.
Yeah.
And AAA is in cahoots with AEW. So we could see a Kenny Omega Murder Clown match.
I can't wait. I mean, they've already signed, what do they call them, the Lucha Brothers?
You're talking about Pentagon El Hierro and Phoenix.
Yeah. So those guys are going to be AEW bound. So
yeah, they will be involved. And Jericho, 2 things Jericho said in that interview that I thought were very funny, and we'll wrap up with these unless you have something final to say.
Sure.
He said he wants to face both of them, and he wants to have a tag team match of them versus he and Kenny Omega. That would be a lot of fun, first off, and I'm sure it's something that we'll see. Secondly, Tony Khan he's very, again, he's ultra rich but very respectful. Like, he was telling a story about how he couldn't afford to buy tapes because he just didn't have the money as a kid.
Right.
And so Jericho said, "Oh, so you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth?" And he goes, "Oh, no." And he laughed in like sort of, I'm embarrassed to be saying this, but I feel like I have to be honest way. He said, I had a silver spoon in my mouth. I don't want anyone to think otherwise. I was very, very blessed, but they didn't give me money to buy just weird crap.
Right.
So he had to work. But it was neat. I thought it was like, he wasn't humble bragging. He was like, no, I'm not trying to pass myself as an average kid. Like,
right.
I was raised by a billionaire.
He's not trying to be one of those billionaires that's like, I worked for every penny kind of guy.
Right, exactly. And he loves the sort of everyone's on the same page, we're a team kind of mentality in his business life. And even Jericho, like, for example, when you were in WCW, you would never get to wrestle Hulk Hogan or Randy the Macho Man Savage, whereas we want, you're our Hogan, and
right.
people like coming and talking to you, and you're just like so approachable. And Jericho said, "Just wait until you ask me to do a job." And I thought that was just such an honest, like, there is going to be a time where Jericho just throws things through the office and says, "Fuck you, you're no Vince McMahon" kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's the personality that he has. But it was
that's funny.
I'm looking forward to all of that, and I hope that it comes to fruition.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the Elimination Chamber this weekend.
For sure.
I'm with you. There are a few matches on there that most of the single matches on there, I'm like, But having not watched Raw for several weeks, I think that, for example, Bobby Lashley and Finn Balor can do something to surprise me.
Yeah.
Buddy Murphy and Akira Tozawa are going to put on a great match, even if they're guys that I'm never going to see on a week-to-week basis. So, I think it's going to be a good time.
All right. Make sure you're following us on Facebook at The One Fall Show. Make sure you like us and send us some reviews on the iTunes. Give us all the stars. And make sure you're following Shawnee's horror podcast.
Yes, Talk Horror to Me with my co-host Matt Coltno.
Yep, absolutely. Gives you a lot of real fun horror movies to go and hunt down and check out. And check out Nerd Radio on the WRAF.com page where I talk about all things nerd this week. Talk to Micah and Katie from Paranormal Activity at the aforementioned Astronomicon.
Excellent.
Which was very fun. And we talk about some video game stuff as well as some wrestling. A little wrestling talk.
Outstanding. And if people would like to help us out, you can do so by rating and reviewing us on iTunes or telling a friend.
Yeah, for sure.
And thanks, everybody. Hopefully you'll come back to join us next week. In the meantime, have fun, be safe, and don't fall in the hole.
Especially the hole that's in the one pot in the Elimination Chamber. Don't fall in that hole.
Who am I?
Who am I?
I had a shirt that I bought from like a boutique kind of place that had an old patch of the Big Boss Man, like a Big Boss Man from an old shirt cut out and sewn on as a patch, and then across it in like Kiss lettering it said "Kill hippies and take their weed."
Oh my God!
Yeah. Unfortunately, the lettering came off in washes, so now I just have a gray shirt with the Big Boss Man on it.
Wouldn't that have been great if that was an official Big Boss Man merchandise, like back when when he joined the NWO and WCW? Like, this is his shirt.
I'd be able to find a case of them somewhere, and I would buy them all.
Yeah, for sure.